Hi, welcome to Papa's Workshop. Today I want to show you the new CNC by FOXAlien. It's the basic edition of the 4040XE. And I'm going to carve this. This turned out absolutely beautiful. And this is the first project that I have done with this CNC. So let me show you how I did it and show you a few tricks along the way. So let's get started. A day in the shop with Papa in Papa's Workshop. To support my channel, please go to patreon.com/Papa's Workshop. In today's video, we're going to be carving out a TIE fighter with Star Wars and using the FOXAlien Basic Edition CNC machine. Now that I have everything set up, I'm going to go ahead and move this for the first time. Now I'm using the Universal G-Code Sender, or UGS, to be able to operate and control the CNC machine. Now as I move up on the Z-axis, all of a sudden it stops. Everything shut down. Why? Let's look at it. There is the limit switch. I tripped that and it stopped the machine. Now this is an easy fix. All you have to do is go back into the Universal G-Code Sender and unlock it, which is to reset and deactivate the alarm. And then you'll be able to move it down again. And as soon as that switch is free, you can then continue to move just as normal on the X, Y, and Z axis. The material that I'm going to be using today is a piece of PVC, and it's a 1/4 inch thick. It was white originally. All I did is spray paint it black. I'm going to secure it to the CNC machine with my glue and my tape method. And to me, this has been a fantastic way to be able to do the hold down. I don't like to use the clamps. And all that's necessary on a project like this is to be able to put down, in my case, I'm going to use 3 strips of tape. You do not need to cover the whole entire project with tape and then glue. 3 is, quite frankly, more than necessary. 2 would probably work just fine. But once I have the tape on the wasteboard, then I'll repeat the same thing and I'll go ahead and put the tape onto the project itself. And again, I'll use the 3 pieces. Now the glue that I'm using is the Starbond glue. This is the Starbond thick glue that I'm using. You can also use the Starbond thin or the medium, and it works just as well. I'm using the Starbond thick glue because that's what I have available, and it does an exceptional job. All it takes is just a single line of the glue on the strips of tape, and then from there all I will do is on the project board itself use the accelerator and spray a little bit on there, and again it does not take a lot of the accelerator. Now with this process completed, all that remains is to place the project board onto the wasteboard. You're just aligning the tape strips and pushing it into place, and just hold it just for a moment and that glue bonds instantly and you're ready to be able to carve. It's just that easy. Now I'll also have a link in the description should you choose to use this for a 15% discount to the Starbond glue. It's a wonderful way to be able to secure the projects. Now the bit that I'm using today is a 1/16 inch, and this is an upcut bit. And what this will do is get that plastic up and out away from the project itself. Now at this point I want to go ahead and move the machine down and set the X, Y, and Z position to 0. And I'm just using the mouse with the controls on the Universal G-Code Sender to be able to do that. Now since this is the first time that I'm using this machine and I'm getting everything set up, you notice that I'm not quite at my surface with the bit, but at the same time I have tripped the limit switch. If I come over here and try to raise on the Z axis, nothing happens. So what I have to do is come over and unlock this machine again, unlock it, and now I can come over where I can raise it up. Now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and loosen my spindle mount, and I'm going to lower this down further, and that will solve the problem. Okay, Now let me grab the wrench and I'm going to loosen this. We'll lower the spindle and we'll continue on to set the Z-axis and the X and Y axis. So I've lowered the spindle now down till I'm right at this line where the fan is, and that's going to be low enough to be able to accomplish what I need to accomplish. Now at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and move this over to my XY0 position and get ready to carve it. Now the machine is all ready to be able to carve. So now I want to switch the focus and talk about the actual software and how I got the project ready to carve using the Easel. Now this is the file that I'm going to carve, and I have actually two workpieces down here. The first one I did, actually have it set up for a 12 by 12. And when I did that, this was how I designed it. And if you look over at the preview, it worked real well and all of the lines are there. When I switched over and realized that the material that I had was not 12 by 12, but actually 9 7/8 by 9 7/8, I went ahead and created my new workpiece, and I had to shrink this down. And when I did, I started to lose a lot of the detail in here. I had to change a few things. Star Wars now is actually cut out, and although this still looks really, really good, I've got to show you how I got to that point. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up a brand new workpiece, and I'm going to bring in this file. And this was an SVG file that I worked on in the Inkscape. And this was the size of the original file. And when you look at that, that has all the fine detail that you want. The problem is though, and let's scale this down. All right. The problem is when you bring this down smaller and you fit it into that space, what happens then? Let me go ahead and hit the edit, center to the material, and you can see over here a lot of the lines are disappearing. The reason being is this 1/16 of a bit is actually still too wide, and this area will not carve. And a lot of times people have asked, what is happening and why is this not looking the way this looks? Well, now you know. To be able to correct that, you have to go into the edit nodes. And in Easel, that's actually real easy to be able to do. So let me zoom this in a little bit. And first thing I want to do is get the size of my material. We've got 9.875 by the 9.875. And let's make this fit into that space. And I'm going to rotate this a little bit. And we'll slide it up to the top. And you can see all of these lines are missing. And we've got to be able to get those lines back. And you can see right here just how thin they are. So what I want to do is zoom in real close just to this area. Then I'm going to click on this and hit the edit nodes. You can see that there are a lot of nodes in here. And what I want to be able to do is change these nodes. First thing I'm going to do is delete some of them. I don't need all of these nodes. And you see this line is missing, and I'm just going to show you this line. So I'm going to go ahead and delete some nodes in here. So it cleans it up and makes it a much easier, smoother design to be able to work with. Let's see, let's get that one. Then we get that one out, that one out, that one, and that one. Over here, I can go ahead and get this one out. Up, now you see what happens there? That actually took too much. So all you need to do is come back to the edit and undo that point, and you can see that it's back. And I didn't want to take this corner out. What I wanted to do is take this one out. And I want to take this one right here. And we'll take that one out. Now we have pretty much a straight line. Over here we can begin to see it. But what I can do is make this even better, because this line right here is still not showing up. So I'm going to delete this one. Want that gone. And then I can take this node right here and I can move it. Don't want to move it that much, but I do want to grab and pull this down just a little bit. And then how this narrows, I'm going to take this node right there, and I'm going to move this node, and I'm going to slide it over just a little bit, back up, and release it. And now you can see that I have that whole entire line. Over here, because this line is missing, I'm going to go ahead and delete this point, and I'm going to delete this point. And then I think I can delete this one. Now I have just this corner, and this is still missing. So I'm going to take this line right there and pull it down just a little bit and make that line wider. That's the one that I want. We're going to pull it down wider. That's probably too wide. Release that, and now you can see that it's there. And this is the process that I'm going to go through this entire project. Because as you look at this, there are tons of nodes, and I can eliminate a lot of those nodes to be able to make it show up. And you can see this whole area up here. The same thing will happen. I'm going to go through and edit these nodes, move those nodes over so that it makes these lines wider so that I'll be able to carve it. This also could be done in Inkscape. And if I go back over to Inkscape, pull up this file, you can see this is the image, and I can, well, let's click on this one. So the same process can be done in Inkscape, but you don't see the immediate results, because I can go through and take out these various nodes just like I did in Easel, but you really can't see the results if that line is wide enough. So that's the reason I like to be able to do the final edit in the Easel software so I can see the results immediately. Now the other problem that I had was the Star Wars logo. Now let's go back over to Easel. Now when I opened up the Star Wars logo, you can see the size of it, and it's quite large. So if I highlight this and reduce it down to a size that will fit into my project, we'll slide it up just a little bit so we can work with it. I know this needed to be smaller. Okay. And now this really just does not look good. And I didn't like the way that would look. So we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to zoom in real close. And I'm going to show you what I did. By being able to edit the points, you can see that there is a double line here. Let me zoom in even closer. So you can see the double line. What I want to be able to do is delete this double line. So I can come right in here and delete it. And we'll delete this. We'll make this cut shallower. We don't need to have it cut that way. And now you can see the letter is cut this direction. So we'll do the same thing with this. Let me zoom out a little bit. And we'll slide over. And I want to take the outer line and we'll delete it. And that's how I did this process to make it look really nice and good when I carved it, because this just did not look right. And this is the final result, where everything fits into the smaller space. All my lines are nice full lines so that they can be able to be carved, and the Star Wars actually looks good with the black background. Now, after we have everything done, and this is set up the way that we want, we have to be able to save the G-code. So you come up here to the machine, and we go down to the advanced. At this point, you notice that my spindle control is on automatic. I have all of the different safety heights, step overs, everything set in here, and I'm going to leave that just the way it is. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and select Generate the G-code. And now I'm going to export it. Now this is going to export because I didn't put a name down at the bottom on the workpiece. It's going to be able to save this file just simply as Star Wars. And you see that right here, starwars.nc. After you open the Universal G-code sender, one of the things that I want to show you is by typing in the $, and hit enter. That's actually going to bring up the Gerbil settings. And this is important for using this machine, because down here you have the maximum spindle speed, which is line 30. And that's equal to 10,000. Normally, if you look at yours, I will pretty much bet you that the line 31 is going to say 0, which is the minimum spindle speed. You need to change that to the 10,000. To be able to do that, just come right up here to this line and type in the $ 31 equals and then the 10,000. By being able to do that and then hit enter, by doing that, you will get this as the result, and that's what you need to be able to have. And here's why. When you're designing an easel and you save the G-code, you can activate this section where it will turn the spindle on or off, but you cannot control the spindle speed. So that's why this setting must be done. I have the machine now set at the X, Y, and the Z position all at 0. So I'm ready to carve now. Over at the computer, I went ahead and reset everything, and the X, Y, and Z are all 0. Now the next thing to do is go over to the file mode, and we're going to pull up the file. I'm going to hit browse, and we're going to come down here to my file folder. I'm going to scroll across and find my Star Wars right here, starwars.nc. So the NC represents the G-code. So we'll click on that, open the file, and you'll see it displayed right here. Now all I need to do is hit send, and you see the spindle turns on and it begins the carving. Now I must say, the first time that I did this, everything was moving exactly as it should, and I hit send and the spindle did not turn on. By adjusting that setting where I changed in Gerbil the $ 31 equals 10,000, it is now carving perfectly. The other thing I want to point out to you is that this is a very quiet machine. Now, this is a 60-watt spindle, and I have not adjusted the volume at all. So quite frankly, if you were in a next room, you would not really hear this machine at all. Now, one of the things that I would like to request from all of the experts out there, if you know of a different way to be able to turn the spindle on without changing the minimum spindle speed to that 10,000, please let me know in the comments, because this is an opportunity for all us to be able to learn together. But this was my way on being able to get the machine to carve and do a perfect job. I really like how this is carving. It's doing it very clean, and it looks outstanding. Now the one thing that I did do is I set this up for a total depth of 0.05. Now, the depth per pass was 0.03. That means it goes ahead and carves the first pass at the .03, and then it comes back and carves the second pass as a cleanup pass at .02. And that worked extremely well. Yes, it does increase your time to be able to complete the carve, but the results are amazing. Now, while this is carving, if you have not hit that subscribe button already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification next to it so that you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. One of the things that I want to point out to you is that look how straight the lines are, where I cleaned up those nodes and eliminated all of those various unnecessary nodes. This is making for a very clean, straight line that is just looking fantastic. And you can see how it's going back and doing that clearing pass just to be able to clean it up. It's looking great. Very, very pleased with this machine, and I'm very, very pleased with how this is carving. All finished now, and I want to be able to show you on releasing this tape. The best way to do it is just be able to get a putty knife underneath and just begin to raise slowly. Because if there's ever a doubt that this will not hold well, you ought to look at this. This shows you just how well it holds. I really don't know why more people don't use the glue and tape method, but it works so well. People are often say that they're afraid that it's going to come loose. Well, if you look at this, it is not coming loose. There it is. And we'll just peel that off the back. Take the tape off of the wasteboard. And you never have to worry about damaging the wasteboard. There you go. It still looks brand new. Now if you look at that, that turned out just absolutely beautiful. I think my son's gonna like this. This is a perfect entry-level CNC machine. Really like how it carves. Thank you very much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.